Hey guys, and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Today I discovered this awesome site with scans of old audio magazines, and I thought it would be really fun to read one together with you. Let's look at Sound on Sound from May 1987. Yes, the year the D-50 was launched. Okay, so here's the first page. Let's click through here. It's going to be fun to look at the ads in particular, with the prices of all the music gear at the time. Classified ads perhaps as well. This is the MC500. I remember really wanting one of those. And the MC50 came later, which was a bit more streamlined, but I really like the look of this old MC500 there with the floppy disk drive. We've got a couple of ads here. Yamaha. At the top, I can see the price of a new Yamaha DX7 was $16.99. And you've got to remember, that's pounds, of course. You've got to remember this is 1987. The price of things now is roughly double if you take into consideration inflation. So in today's money, that's like over £3,000, £3,400 or thereabouts. So certainly musical instruments have got a lot cheaper. You can see Korg, some Korg stuff there. This is, of course, before the M1 was released. N-Sonic were pretty big at the time. We have some Roland samplers. It's a bit fuzzy, that text. We'll check out some other ads a bit later. Casio, of course, were pretty big in the UK anyway. I'm not sure if they were equally as big in the States, but we'll see a lot of Casio synthesizer ads. And Akai was starting to introduce samplers about this time as well. So if the index is there. Some more ads over here. New Nomad SMC1. I do not recall that one at all. We're going to browse through this magazine pretty quickly today, but I'll leave a link to this in the description so that if you want, you can peruse this at your own leisure. It's the first time that these old Sound on Sound magazines have been available online. The official Sound on Sound site doesn't go back quite this far. So I think we got some things of the shape of things to come in the future. A few new products that are coming up. What's this down at the bottom? That looks like an Emax. Okay, the Emax rack. Very cool. Yeah, the Emax rack. There we go. What else do we have here? Not sure who that guy is. We're switched on. Are you? Future Music in Chelsea. That's in London. I doubt this place still exists. Do correct me if I'm wrong. Oberheim Matrix 6R. We'll check out some prices a bit later. The Roland Juno 1, Juno 2. So the Alpha Junos were popular at this time. D50 is listed in some of the ads. Okay, here we have an ad actually for the Emax, which was an affordable sampler at the time from Emu Systems. Much cheaper than the emulator. There was a time when I wanted one of those, and I'd still quite like to get hold of one actually. It would be fun to try one out. Okay, some boring stuff. Now, I used to read this magazine all the time when I was a teenager. So I would have read this edition back then. But there were always some sections I used to skip over because I didn't understand them at all. Stunning new sounds for your DX7, just 19 pence each. Wow, 5 for £1. Nowadays you can download 10,000 sounds for the DX7 in a huge zip file, free of charge. You can buy a ROM, only 195. This is interesting. So this must have been some. See if I can zoom in. Whoops. See if I can zoom in a little bit on this one. Is it possible to zoom in? There we go. What is this? Hyper-ROM. I don't remember this. You get acoustic pianos, basses, brass, the sounds it contains. I'm guessing you get 32 banks of 32 sounds ready to load into your Yamaha DX7. That's a total of 1,024 individual sounds. available at the flick of a switch. Yeah, okay, so you can see at the top of this ROM, there's some switches you can twiddle, and then you'll be able to choose 32 of those sounds. So you choose the bank on the ROM. This is interesting. 200 quid for 1,000 sounds. I have never heard of this. Never heard of that at all. So we'll skip over this review of some device that I've never heard of. That's a UK mains plug. Some rather dry articles. We'll skip over those. Mix with muscle. Oh, look. A tape machine. Soundcraft. Mixers and a tape machine. Yep. That's long gone. So here we go. This is the article that I would have drooled over as a teenager here. The Roland D-50. Could never afford one. But I read the article, then went to Eddie Moore's Music to try one out. And there was a crowd of people around it, as I've told you about earlier. A crowd of people wanting to play this thing. It really was groundbreaking. Is this the review or is this the... No, this is the review. I was wondering if it was a review or an ad. This is the review. We won't go through it in detail now. Maybe read the conclusion. Although this is part 1 of a part 2 review. What do we have? Second-hand stock here then. It's a bit difficult to navigate the page here. Yeah, the DX7 2, also 1700. We can see an ad for the Roland here. Reserve yours now. Phone, POA, that means price on application. This is the way it used to work in new gear. They'd never have the prices in the Sound on Sound magazine or any magazines at the time. You'd have to ring to get the best price. This was way before the days of the internet, so you'd actually call one of the salesmen and get a quote that way. Some second-hand stock. Anything there that's interesting? Nothing that really springs to mind. Casio stuff again, all over the place. A nice ad from Sequential here. Oh, and I'm sorry, every time I zoom, I get jumped back to the same page. Sequential Profit VS. Okay, this was a predecessor to the Wave Station, the VS. So that was out in 87. The Keyboard Shop. Clean out sale. The spring clean out sale. Special offers on DX21, DX all over the place, isn't it? Roland is the Juno 1, Juno 2, TR707, TR505. So the analog drum machines were long gone at this time. Casio CZ 1000, I had one of those. The CZ 5000 I used to lust over. Software for musicians. I'm looking here. Steinberg for the Atari ST. Pro 24 sequencer. We did a demo of Pro 24 and remember how crappy it was, at least by today's standards, but that was certainly the best at the time. There's no Cubase. This was before Cubase. And look at the price, 285 quid. That's over £500 in today's money for that crappy little sequencer. That's quite amazing. So we've got it a lot better today than we had then, that's for sure. You can see the Akai S900 editor. Even that was almost £300. Graphics orientated visual editor with maximized function. Cool. More ads here. FB01, that's a FM sound module. Looks like Yamaha were only doing FM at the time. And I'm really loving visiting this old magazine. Maybe if you guys are interested, we could do this again. Look at some other magazines, perhaps when the M1 was launched and the Wave Station. I wonder if this Sennheiser microphone still exists. Probably, still in production. S50 sampler was out, okay. Look at that cool picture there with the monitor connected and the touchpad and the pen. That was the thing back then. You get 14.4 seconds of sampling time at 30 kilohertz sampling rate. So not even CD quality. But if you went down to 15 kilohertz, you got 28.8 seconds. Yes, you youngsters, that was the state of the art in 1987. 14 seconds of sampling time. Unbelievable. I'm not even sure if that's stereo. Here's another sampler. So samplers were starting to become a big thing back in 87. Certainly don't remember this one. Who remembers the RSF SD140 sampler? Sampling drum machine they had as well? Nope, don't remember that either. Your binders for sound on sound. Oh, never had one of those, but I probably wanted one. Some CZ editor stuff here for the Atari and Macintosh. CZ editor. Okay, you can see here all the Roland stuff. D-50 everywhere is price on application. What else did Roland have at the time? S50 sampler, S10 sampler, Juno 1, Juno 2, MKS 100, rack sampler. Okay, I'm not so familiar with those. The sequencer, I'd be interested to know what it costed. Let's press on. DX owners at last. The rams you have been waiting for. The new Red Planet instrument. Packed with superb sounds. So yeah, obviously these DX cartridges were the thing back then, weren't they? Of course, the DX7 was soon to be obsolete. In 87, we had the D-50 launched. And then in 88 came the M1, and that was the end of it. I think a previous issue to this one had the DX7 Mark II, which had just been released. But that thing didn't do all that well, I don't think. Nice ad for the Shure SM58. As you know, you can still get that microphone today, and it looks exactly the same. I doubt they've changed anything there. Another RAM pack. 320 voice RAM packs. This is incredible. So this was definitely the thing back then. A few of our latest arrivals. Soho Sound House. That's a name I remember. Would any of the guys in London like to tell me if Soho Sound House still exists? They were huge back in the day. Definitely. There's a nice drum machine, RX-17, a bit of a classic. 329. You probably pay about the same amount of money for them today, so they've held their price. Okay, we're into the classifieds. We made it through most of the ad here. I wonder if we can find any fishy software distributors here. I vaguely remember knowing somebody that bought some dodgy, cracked software from the back of Sound on Sound magazine. No names mentioned. Okay, free. Let's have a look at the free classifieds. They were also something I was fascinated in reading back in the day. Let's... Oh, no! Whiz through here. Okay, free classifieds. Roland Juno 106. Perfect unmarked with handbook. £400. What would you pay for a Juno 106 today? I mean, this was at the time when nobody wanted a Juno 106. They were pretty outdated, out-fashioned and boring at the time. Now, of course, they're quite desirable. You'd pay more than £400. You'd be looking at probably £1,000 today for one of those, I'm guessing. Anything else interested? Fender Rhodes, 350 quid. Yeah, good luck finding a Fender Rhodes for £350 today. We got someone that wants a Juno 106. Casio CZ 6000. Some arranger thing, I think. Roland SH101, £100, offers over £100. So you'd have no problem selling an SH101 today for 100 quid. Another Fender Rhodes for £300. DX7 900. It's not bad, half price for the DX7. Get them a lot cheaper nowadays, actually. What else do we see here then? RX11s all over the place. Yeah, many RX11s for sale. Casio synthesizers, CZs again. Casio, anything? Let's scan through these. Anything interesting? Moog Prodigy. There you go. Excellent condition. Still boxed. £125. Anybody want to buy a Moog Prodigy for £125? Yamaha DX7? TR-505, 150 quid. Profit 2002. I don't know anything about that synthesizer. It's expensive even then. A Mini Moog. I'd love to know the price of that. They don't list the price. Mini Moog Model D. Home studio use only. Like new. Anybody want to call that number? See if they still have it? Maybe worth a try. A Tesco flight case. Oh my gosh. Studio Master. Perfect CZ 5000. I used to want one of those. Korg Poly 61. More drum machines there at the end. So that's the classifieds. I won't zoom because I'll probably get spun back to the other page. Some edits here. Cheetah Marketing, here are some edits. Yamaha have asked us to point out that the owner's manual for the RX-17 drum machine contains a printing mistake. This is how we did it back in the days before the internet. Cheetah Marketing, manufacturers of the Mark V MIDI keyboard, have moved to Norbury House. Good to know. Roland have summarised that the version 2 operating system for their S50 sampler is now available. This update, this is how we did it, kids, before the internet. How awesome is this? Some digital audio tape cassette recorders were launched. And you can go on a Fairlight course if you were lucky enough to have access to one back in 1987. And look, a synthesizer music concert as well. So yeah, that's the last page. That's the last page that's been scanned in. I thought that was quite good fun to look through that together with you. What do you think? Was that fun? Should we do another one? Maybe look at 1988 whenever the M1 previewed, and then we should be able to get some prices for the D50 as well. I'd also like to read the magazine with the review of the D10 and the D20, because I do remember very vividly reading those when I was a kid. Also the MT32 I'd like to read. Would you enjoy to do that together with me? Maybe even as a live stream format. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you again soon. Cheerio.